my chair is... Oh, shit.
Okay. So. Buck! Yeah! We're gonna talk about Buck today. I've got Buck, Cassie, and Drogoz ready to go. If I get Buck done quick enough, I may try and sneak Cassie in, but Cassie's gonna be a bit longer. So, right now we're just gonna go over Buck. Because Buck's the next champion. Now, it's important to note with Buck. Buck is not necessarily a flank. He originally was a tank. Very long ago in this game. He was a tank before he was a flank. And in my opinion, flanks and damages, they're kind of interchangeable, with just flanks being lower health, higher damage versions of an actual damage champion. But looking at Buck, you see what his moveset is. We're going to talk about this a little bit, and I think it's important to note, Buck is not a beginner type champion. And I want to mention that because a lot of people tell me that Buck is a beginner champion. That there are just champions in this game that are just beginner champions. That, you know, Buck, Grok, Ruckus, those are the first champions that you could buy. I remember the days when champions were scaled 5,000, 7,500, and 12,500. And that's how much gold you had to get to unlock the champions. So your 5,000 champions were Buck. You had Buck and you had Skye to start. For damage, you had a ton of people on damage. For damage, you had Victor. You had Strix. You had Tyra. You had Cassie. You had Kinessa. So you had a wide array, and you had Drogoz. So you had a wide array of damages to choose from. You only had Skye on flank, you only had Pip on healer, and you only had Fernando on tank. And you had to buy everybody else. And then you had Buck at 5,000, Grok at 5,000, and you had Ruckus at 5,000. And I remember buying those champions. And Buck, that is when Buck, Tyra were my mains. Like, this was before I jumped on Moji. Buck was my go-to choice. So, the funny part is, I have very few games on Buck compared to my other flanks. I have a lot of time on Buck, believe it or not. I have, I think, about 60, 70 games. I'd have to check my numbers. And a lot of them were good. But I have more games on other flanks. I have more games on Maeve. I have more games on Skye. I have more games on Xin. I have more games on Moji. Who's another flank I have more games on? Talus, not so much. Talus, Koga, Eevee, and Lex, I don't have as much. But I have more games on Androxus, I believe. But Buck is not a noob champion. Now let's look at your legendary cards. And this is the thing. Buck, with the change to Bucking Madness, Buck now has 3 good options. You look at Bounce House, it's not very good. Heroic Leap deals 600 damage and knocks up enemies within 20 units of where you live. This is a control ability. Pick this build just to show it all. This is a control ability. The problem with this is, let's look at your loadout to begin with. So, your ultimate basically is just, you fire faster and you don't consume ammo. It's definitely good, and we're gonna get into why it's good later on, but we're not gonna talk about it right now.
You have a shotgun.
Excuse me. Your shotgun is very important, and I want to mention something right here, actually. Okay? This is what I want to mention on your shotgun. Before we talked about Barrack with poking, where his shotgun is very good, right? Look at the range on that. Look at the range on that. Look at the range right here that I can poke. 88k is not effective. A shot. But the fact of the matter is, I can cauterize, I can dismount you and cauterize from that distance. Now, if we were to look, okay, so now I get up in your face, BAM! 700. Or, let's see, what's a headshot?
Rough.
About 1,000. That's what I was expecting. Either way,
Your luck.
Buck is incredibly effective. He's most effective in close quarters, but don't think that a long-range poke like that, don't think that is a bad thing to do. It's not. Being able to poke for 150 damage, basically, at range is a bad tactic. Now, this is the problem with his kit. On this card. All of his cards have the same cooldown on them. Now, net shot and recovery, you can reduce those down to 5 seconds. You can't do that with Heroic Leap. Your regular jump will explain in detail in a minute how it really functions. But the problem, specifically with Heroic Leap, is this. You can no longer view it as an escape. It is now a damage tool. And that means that your net shot and your recovery become your 2 escape options. And the thing with Buck, if you look at his loadout, is Ensnare, Bounce House, and Recovery each give him a second form of damage, believe it or not. They give you something to augment your normal shotgun with. Bucking Madness is just kind of a general DPS type thing. This is what is Bounce House does. The knockback is not very effective unless you're at range, and the damage is not going to be enough to kill somebody. Now I have to wait all this time, just to do it again. Yes, the damage is nice, but it's not going to finish anybody off. It's not like I'm sitting here saying, hey, I can just kill this person with this. Yeah, bam! It's better for the knockback than anything. Now, I have been killed by someone jumping in on me and me being low health, but don't count on it too often. In my opinion, it's a bad card to run. I do respect the build. Now we're going to talk about these. Now, this is the fun part right here. These 3 right here, I can run all 3 of these. And if you were to say what the best and worst cards are for Buck, I couldn't give you an answer on that, because they're all viable. Now, Bucking Madness is eliminations increase your attack speed by 20% for 10 seconds. That's important to note. It resets every time you get an elimination. So every time you get that bonus 10% elimination in between that 10 seconds, it restacks. It resets. This is a build I recommend. Now, the biggest drawback that Buck has with his primary weapon, he has 4 rounds and he has to shoot them a lot. And they're not very good on range. So reload speed is very important, and thankfully the reload speed cards have been buffed again. But having the Street Sweeper here is a critically important thing, and I will talk about Vigor later on. You see that level 4? That plays just a big a part. This is a general Bucking Madness build. The leap strength of Heroic Leap, that's just to help you get in and out further. That basically is increasing how far you jump. Stomping Ground, mostly because I have 2 cooldowns at 10 seconds and 1 at 6 seconds. So that extra 15% when you get a kill. A lot of people tell me that is a meta card on Buck to run that instead. But the thing is, you reduce your cooldown up to 75% when you get a kill. This build is for eliminations. Every elimination I get is going to give me the increase in movement speed, so that card is not that big. It's mostly just as a filler card. Buck doesn't have a lot of great filler cards if you're just trying to go for a generic build like this is. But we have the Street Sweeper and we have the Recovery. Alright, actually I should probably have just reset everything. Yeah, let me reset. So, this is one thing I do want to mention about Buck. Buck, in my opinion, is an infinite ammo champion, similar to Moji, and similar to Grover, similar to Terminus, where they don't reload. But it's not because, you know, it's not like Shaolin, or it's not like Maeve, where they have a cast time. Okay? Buck does have a reload. But look at this. Alright, so we're gonna watch. Fire. I'm just shooting into a wall just to give you an idea. I'm holding R2, and it enables me to fire every half that wheel fills up, which means I constantly have a round in the chamber. I always have a round ready to go. So to say that Buck has ammo is kind of a stupid statement in my opinion. Buck has infinite ammo. I literally, watch, I'm just holding R2. So Buck always has a constant stream of DPS going. It's not to say that Buck has no, when it hits 4 shots, oh, he has to reload. It's not important. He has a very effective shotgun. Yeah, look at that. That's a nice shotgun. Alright, now, what does Bucking Madness actually do? Well, let me show you. Now, this is where we're going to talk tips and tricks a little bit right here. Net shot, if you're not running Ensnare, this is how your net shot works. Your net shot can be used 2 ways. It can be used as a slow tactic so that you can slow a target pursuing you and then jump or run away and heal up while you're doing it or reload while you're doing it. Or your net shot more commonly is going to be used to slow a target so you can leap in.
First blood. Keep up the good work. Double kill.
Now I have that boosted attack speed.
Triple kill. Killing spree. Quadra kill. Pentakill. That's 5 in a row. Double kill. Oh my God. Unstoppable. Triple kill. Quadra kill.
That
Savage.
is what Bucking Madness does.
Pentakill.
Bucking Madness increases your attack speed. Now, it's not very effective on its own. Watch. Let's get 2 kills and show you.
That's 11 in a row. Double kill.
Like this.
Triple kill.
It's only the 20 seconds.
Godlike.
But when you combo it with your ult, you saw what I did. I'm a fucking machine gun of bullets. And that's what Bucking Madness does. And that's kind of what your ult does. Your ult is just a lesser version of Bucking Madness, only you have infinite ammo. You don't have to worry about reloading. You just get to unload in their face. Every time you get elimination, bam, they're dead. Bam, they're dead. Hey, Sky, bam, bam, bam.
My personal space. Double kill.
And it lets me cut down time to kill because it's less time that the enemy can respond.
Quadra kill.
See, it's less time that an enemy can respond and return fire. That's basically what Bucking Madness does. It's general DPS. It's going to make you more dangerous in the long run, more deadly in the long run, because you're going to be able to kill people faster. Now, I do want to show a build that... I'll just do this. This is a sustain build. And sustain is very important on Buck if you're not running bulk up. Bulk up is your key sustain ability, and it makes you a fucking menace. If you ever wonder why the enemy team buys Cauterize when they don't have a healer, they're running 4 tanks and a Buck, and you're saying, why are they buying Cauterize? It's Buck. Now this is something that you can run to offset. I prefer this to an actual bounce house build. This is a build that's very interesting. So I get 60% life rip against targets I hit with net shot, and I get 40% life rip after I use recovery. And I get the cooldown reduction for 30 seconds when I get a kill. Although, that card right there is a filler card because I have Bully and Giga Siphon max out. I don't want to put the extra point into Leg Day. That's a filler card. And then I have Vigor, but I don't want to put Vigor at 3 because it's not going to register unless it's on 2 or 4. So that is why I have the extra point there as an FYI. But this build allows me to have constant life rip. So I stack this with Kill to Heal. So I get 900 in elimination on top of getting life rip on top of whatever I'm doing. Whether I'm using my recovery and then I just unload, or whether I hit somebody with a net shot. It's a very effective strategy. Now, a lot of people say the Bully card is better on Ensnare. Personally, I don't think so. I'll show you the Ensnare build shortly, and that'll be the next one we do, just to show you the side. But this is a very interesting build that you can run. I need to take some damage. So.
See that? Love that.
It basically gives me the ability to be able to 1v1 Cassie. You saw Cassie was able to get the first shot on me. Let's say I closed the distance in the meantime. I net shot her. I'm able to heal for roughly the same amount of damage that she deals at the same rate on that build. Another example, if I want to show this off, so let's see. And that lets me heal up even further, comboing the two. Comboing the two gives me 100% life rip. I got 800 health out of that shot. I get 700 damage a shot. I get 100% life rip on that combo. Recovery, net shot, one shot. It's a one shot that restores your health, basically. So it's a good build to run, just as an in-between. I want to make that mention. Now, Ensnare is very popular because the burst meta. Fuck off. Net shot grants 30% bonus damage for as long as the target is slow. Now, this is the net shot build. It's called Concussion. So this reduces... Now, obviously, these are the specialized builds. This is the Concussion and the Recovery. Those are built around Ensnare and Bulk Up. This is the Ensnare build. You want to always start that 5 seconds, because if you were to unload your shotgun into a target, it takes 4 seconds. So if you unload your shotgun in between reloading, basically one full unload of your shotgun you have your net shot back. So it's basically net shot, unload, net shot. Now, Ensnare is great because of the fact that you get that bonus damage, but Ensnare is also good because it is not affected by resilience or crowd control. It is guaranteed to last for 2 seconds, which is what it normally does. So the Tangled is great. Tangled extends it to 3.5 second duration. Now that's important because that gives you essentially 3 shots. Vigor will be explained in the next one, why I have Vigor at level 2 in every single build. Again, we have the same 2 fillers, Leg Day and the Stomping Grounds. The Stomping Grounds here is more so that I'm able to reset the cooldown on Recovery faster. The one trade-off that you're going to make on this build is you are not able to heal yourself as often. And because it's channeled, I don't get bonus healing. Bulk Up gives you bonus healing. It gives you a burst heal, and it extends your health bar, and it basically makes everything happen faster.
I ain't got time to bleed.
But you see the 10 seconds right there. If I get a kill, I shave off 3 seconds. I mean, that's the big deal. And on this build, you're gonna do that a lot. Now, on Ensnare, rather than Bucking Madness, your Heroic Leap becomes more offensive than defensive. You don't really use it as a retreat, you're going to use it more so that you can leap into a target like that. And it is OP as hell. Basically, you're two-shotting any low health, any squishy target. Let's pick Ying. Ying's a healer. Use a priority target. Bend over! Bye-bye. You get that burst 200 damage at the beginning, and then you get 1200 a shot on the headshot. If we're talking about a body shot, so let's see, net. It's about 1,000 a shot. Again, it lets you do that. And if you're up against a tank, 1, 2, 3, boom. I got all 4 shots off. The tank is now dead. The tank is dead. Now let's go for headshots, and I'll explain. That's a tank that's dead in 4 seconds. 5 seconds, whatever. But you get the net shot, you burst them down, and basically the Ensnare lets you burst down targets, and it's your primary go-to damage. The thing you have to realize, you're gonna kill targets so fast. Now my favorite build to actually run is Bulk Up. Now this is important. Bulk Up, it gives you 600 up front. Let's start with that. When you activate Recover, you get 600 up front. No channeling. Bam! 600. You got Kill Heal 2. Every 5 seconds. Bam! 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 Why is that important? Maldama on Mending Spirits gives you 300 up front. I get double that up front. Okay? Genos give you 10% of your maximum health up front. I get more than that. 10% of my maximum health up front is 230. You know what that means? I'm getting almost triple my health up front on bulk up. And it increases your maximum health by 300 for 5 seconds. Now that puts you into the damage champion category for health. Here's the thing that's important to note. Bulk up is not necessarily, I'm running this card because I die a lot, so I'm going to use this so I heal up better. No. Bulk up increases you as a whole. It is steroids. They call it bulk up for a reason, bruh. Alright, so not only it lasts 5 seconds. Here's why that's important. Reconstruction 5, reduce the cooldown of recovery by 5 seconds. You know what that means? That means that recovery ends after 5 seconds, and you have a 5-second cooldown. Literally, you can keep spamming bulk up every 5 seconds and keep your bonus health. And this is the other thing that's important to note. Now, Deep Breath is not as important a card to run anymore. And if you want to take points off of it and put them on the Giga Siphon, go right ahead. I understand. Giga Siphon is a key component to this because you get life rep for 4 seconds. So, it is a key component to this build. However, I like the balance of this. I get 24% life rep and 24% damage reduction for 2 seconds. So basically, every time I hit a target for a headshot, which is 1,000 damage, I'm going to get 250 health back. And I take less damage. And I get Haven 3, basically. I get Haven 3 for 2 seconds, which on top of any Haven that I already have. And I get Life Rip 2 for 4 seconds, on top of any Life Rip I have or Kill to Heal. So, the fact that I can constantly apply these buffs is critical. Now, I want to explain the Vigor right here. Vigor, in my opinion, is one of the absolute best cards you can run on him. There's a card, I believe it's called Salvage on Makoa. It's the same thing. When you activate your Anchor, it reloads X amount of ammo per second, and it's in half-second intervals. Now, it's important to note how this card works. You will generate 1 ammo every half second for a specific amount of time. So that is, and the reason why this is important, this card right here is basically telling you, the card number tells you how much ammo you're going to get out of it. So, at Vigor 2, it basically gives you 2 shots in 1 second. Because one problem that you will have with Buck, with him having such low ammo, like Makoa with the salvage card, is when you go to use one of those abilities, you're generally not going to know how much ammo you have. If you're like me and you're just, you kind of run from engagement to engagement. Especially as Buck. I don't plan some of my encounters ahead. I specifically decide, I don't specifically say, I'm going to kill that Strix. That Strix killed me. Want his blood. To those who are about to die, I salute you. I'm gonna go kill that Strix. I say, who can I kill? I don't say, I'm gonna kill that guy. I say, who can I kill? Right? Who is in a position for me to kill? And I generally try to flow it. I try to stretch out like a combo, okay? I go from going after this person, to going after this person, to go after this person, to go after this person. So it's important to realize that on Buck and Makoa, you're going to need to have Vigor and Salvage in your loadout. Because I'll be able to show it off right here. But this is the important thing. So there's that boost right there. And oh, the extra 300 health goes away. But that's fine, because the cooldown comes back now. So I've got 1 second left. This is the other important thing to note. I'm back. You get caught in a reload animation, right? But you have ammo. Let's say, you know, I've got a fire on this target. I'm about to I'm about to hit him. Oh no, I gotta cancel it. And it allows you to cancel into having ammo. So when you come out of recovery, you have ammo. And even if you're not focused around recovery, you have to respect that. Now let's talk about items real quick, because this is important. Defense. Eliminate as needed. Shouldn't buy it. Waste of credits. Blast shields in Haven depends on the enemy team you're going up against. If you're going up against Drogos primarily, and you're... to me, it depends more on who you're actively trying to kill rather than the team comp. For example, if you are focusing Victor, and the enemy team is running Ceres, Willow, Fernando, and just for the hell of it, Evie. But you're focusing that one target. Let's say it's Victor. Haven is sometimes a better choice, because you are going to be getting his attention a lot, and so he's going to be saying, "You're trying to kill me," and turn and kill you. So you may want to defend against that. Now, depending on the build, if you're running the build where you get the damage reduction on recovery and stuff like that, you may not need a defensive item. Resilience is also an important thing to realize because of the fact that you can be knocked out of recovery. If Khan decides to commandos grab you, you are knocked out of your recovery, plain and simple. That's what makes bulk up so effective, because you get that 600 up front. It's basically telling you, heal, and then heal. It's heal, heal. Right? The resilience helps with CC because you are a bit of a CC champion. If you run Bounce House, you have 2 forms of crowd control, and if you run anything else, you really have 1. If you run Ensnare, you have something that actually you can't counter with resilience. Like, to be honest, you don't need to have that card in the Ensnare build that increases the duration. It's just helpful because it increases your damage overall. If the enemy tries to escape, you're able to follow them down a little bit faster because you can still poke them and have that damage. That's another thing that I want to mention as well. Let me show off the Ensnare build here. We'll go back to this. This is something I want to mention as well.
Band over!
So you know what it does at close range. This is close range. 2 shot.
Entertained!
This is a bit of a longer range poke. Oh, I fucked that up horribly. Alright, this is a bit of a longer range poke. So I'm able to maintain that constant DPS at range with Ensnare. That would normally do, you know, maybe 200 damage, maybe 300 damage, and I was able to get a good 500 damage out of it. So that's important to know. Now we look at the item. Now we'll look at the next category. Healing is important. Rejuvenate and Veteran are not helpful. Your buck, you don't need to focus on Rejuvenate, you know, unless you're running with 3 or 4 healers on your team. If you've got 1 or 2 healers, you don't need to worry about Rejuvenate. Even if you're playing a tank type buck, Bulk Up does that for you. Kill to Heal and Life Rip are good to go, and I've already talked about how you can build Life Rip into your loadout. You can build insane amounts of Life Rip into your loadout, and it makes Kill to Heal the overwhelming choice. If you are running Ensnare, I will recommend Life Rip over Kill to Heal. Yes, you're going to be able to consistently kill targets fast. You're going to be able to consistently kill squishy targets fast enough where you're going to get that 900 health. But in all honesty, Life Rip, in my opinion, is slightly better because of the fact that your every shot is going to give you 300 to 400 health. And you can stack Bully on top of that. So, if you are a fan of a more constant heal, Life Rip is a better bet than Kill to Heal. This category is a very important one to talk about, because I see this mishandled a lot. Bulldozer should never be picked on Buck. Wrecker should never be picked on Buck. Let me explain why. If you're running Ensnare, you don't need Wrecker. You're gonna get the bonus damage to burn down shields that much faster. So you don't need Wrecker. If you are running Bulk Up or Bucking Madness, you get constant DPS, so you're gonna be able to take the shield down faster. And if you're running Bulk Up, you still don't fucking need it because it's not helpful. Unless you're going up against Torvald Vivian. Like, if you're going up against Vivian, chuck everything out the window. You want Wrecker, okay? You want Life Rep, and you want Haven. but that's a 1v1. That's not a team fight. And if you're going up against a Torvald, you still don't necessarily need it. On Ensnare, you can burn down his personal shields in 2 shots and still have 2 left to do 2,000 damage on the target you were shooting. You don't need Wrecker. Wrecker's a bad pick. There's 2 choices. Caught, Deft Hands. Buck takes a long time to reload from 4 empty shots. You're gonna reload a lot. You got 4 shots. Now, why do I recommend Deft Hands over Wrecker on Buck, but not McCullough? McCullough can't cancel his his reload animation. He has to reload. He has to finish reloading. He cannot simply say, you know what? I'm not gonna reload the rest of these cannonballs in. I'm not gonna do it. Buck can. So Deft Hands is important because it cuts down on the amount of time that you actually have to cancel. You actually have to cancel your reload. It also helps if you do have to cancel your reload with recovery or with net shot. It means that you are able to very effectively cut down on it. Now, you can get Deft Hands 1 in your build with Street Sweeper on 4 or 5. Personally, it's a good choice to do. But if you're focusing on, you know, like where I have the recovery in the other build, it's better. Cauterize is a better bet. And the reason why is because of the fact where I've talked about you can poke at a very effective range. It's not great DPS, but you're applying Cauterize. And Buck fires fast enough where every time Cauterize expires, you are able to apply it again. So it's very effective for that role. For the ability... I apologize for the yawning. For the ability to constantly apply Cauterize. It also helps because, even on an Ensnare build or a bulk up build, because you're able to prevent the target from out-healing that big damage you did. And on the Kill to Heal build that I showed off, again, they can't do what you are doing to them. You get to heal for all that health, they don't. So, looking at your utility, now Buck is a champion where utility items are very important. I see a lot of Bucks run Nimble. If that's your cup of tea, go right ahead. He is a slower flank, and he doesn't have a very good mobility skill. He has a 10-second cooldown that's hard to reduce the cooldown on. The best you can do is reduce the cooldown on a kill up to 75%, but that's only on a kill. So... Nimble is a good option. You just need to realize that until you get Nimble 3, you're not going to see a benefit. Morale boost is very effective, believe it or not, because of the fact that his ult is good. It's not as good as people claim to be, but it's not the shit ult people say, where people say his ult and Tyra's ult is bad. That's just simply not true. And then you have Master Rider, which is very effective for positioning. It's not as key because you can heroic leap. If you heroic leap, you know, if you get dismounted early, you have heroic leap to get your positioning back. So I don't necessarily think that Master Rider's as good of a pick on him, believe it or not. Chronos is a good pick because it does help reduce cooldown. Every ability that you're not reducing the cooldown on, Chronos will take 1, 2, and 3 seconds off respectively. But to be honest, you're mostly going to use this for your escape ability, for your heroic leap, because you can build up to 5 seconds of cooldown reduction on those abilities off. And it's entirely possible you could have both of those abilities. You'd have a flex build where you have both of those abilities on a 5-second cooldown and the rest being filler cards, and you don't need Chronos at all. But in my opinion, you're better off focusing on one and specializing on the one. So now we'll round off with tips and trips on how we focus on playing Buck. So a key thing that I think should be noted is, so we're shooting a target. No, cancel that and go to your ultimate ability instead.
Double kill.
Because it refills your ammo automatically coming out of your ultimate, so it's very effective. Another strategy. So we're going to fire into the wall here just to show something off. Leaping away. Leap is very important because of the fact that you're able to leap. I'm gonna buy the Chronos just to show this off. Right? Another example. Ah! We're low on health! Leap and heal. While you're in the air, you should be either reloading or healing. There is literally no situation where you shouldn't be doing that. Another example. Okay? I have to go indoors for this. The only example is maybe on Ensnare. Leap, and you want to hit him with the net shot. That's pretty much the only reason why you're going to want to do that. But you should always either be reloading or healing. If you are leaping to close distance, and you are not using another option, you're in a lot of trouble. If you're leaping, you know, just to close distance, you should be net shotting to slow them down. If you are, you know, if you're full ammo, okay? Recovery. If you are full health, but you have, you know, let's say you're missing one round because you decide to poke somebody, you should be reloading. That downtime in the air where you are harder to hit is a period that you should not leave to chance. Use that window of opportunity. Another thing I do want to mention specifically on an Ensnare build, okay? If you are low health and you don't have bully or a high degree of life rep or a higher degree of kill to heal, don't use your net shot. Here's why. Let's say we're low health. We're like 300-400 health. This is a bad idea. Because I only get 2 shots off. Unless the target that I'm shooting is already weak, it's not as effective. And don't be afraid, by the way, to just use your ult as a scare tactic. That's another thing I want to mention. Buck with Fearless the Wind-Up is a very scary force to be reckoned with. And it can force people away from you. It's not very effective, but as a scare tactic, it is. If you don't mind wasting an ult, if you don't find yourself using it, go right ahead and do it. I hope this video has been educational. It went on long enough, which is why I'm cutting it. I do have a bit more to say, but I'm cutting it because I got the general gist of this build out. One last thing I do want to mention. Ensnare Bucks out there. If you are not in a 10-minute game, you should be doing more than 60k damage. The minimum threshold for a 10-minute game is 80k damage. I'm sorry. In 10 minutes, if the game goes on for 10 minutes, that's not including kills. You know, if your kills and eliminations are not backing it up, I can see that. But if you have the kills and you have the eliminations, you should be doing more than that. Just because you're a flank doesn't mean, you know, I'm gonna jump in, I'm gonna wait for this target to be half health. No shot, bam, you're dead. That's not an effective strategy. Let's say that was a tank, okay? And then let's say, okay, this is an example. That's not dead! That's kill stealing, and it's not great in the long run because you're misusing the power of your damage. I've already shown off. I've already shown that off. How you can kill a tank so effectively. And that's just a constant way to not have to reload as well. Again, is being able to cancel. So going from net shot, fire off your rounds, cancel into recovery to get the bonus ammo, your net shot's back, and you fire again. Also, don't be afraid to use your net shot as a straight damage option. It does do 200 damage at range, so it's a very effective poke. Also, that's not effective. You can't go backwards. But see, you're able to do 200 damage at any range. If you're out of ammo, but your net shot is on cooldown, like, okay. As an effective strategy, here we go. Don't be afraid to use that as a dismounting technique. Anyways, I'm gonna cut the stream. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.